Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lawrence. In today's video I'm going to be going over how to use the map method found in ES6. So here if you go to Mozilla's official documentation, it says that the map method creates a new array with the results of calling a provided function on every element in the calling array. This might make more sense once we go through a few examples. So a basic example here, so let's say for example we have numbers. This is a numbers array. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, and what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to multiply each individual element within that array by 5. So this is what we're trying to get. We're trying to get 5, 10, 15, 20. So typically if you wanted to do this using like the old way, you'd first create a for loop. You'd loop through each individual item in this array and then multiply it by 5. So in a sense, you'd be modifying numbers array. Now in ES6, you can use a map method. So here you say numbers.map, and map takes a callback function. So this function will be called on each individual item within that array. So to keep things consistent, we're going to use ES6 syntax. So we're going to use what's it called? An arrow function. I just had a brain for it. So okay, so we'll pass in we'll call it element, and this element is just like the name of each individual element that's going to be passed through it. So since we opened the brackets, we actually have to return something here. So return, and now this function is going to be called on each individual item here, right? So what we want to do is we want to take this value and multiply it by 5. So what we want to do is we want to return element times 5, right? And then if we save that and then we console log the numbers, let's see what this gives us. Clear the console, node index.js. Wow, that's strange. You see, we ended up getting the same array, but you would think that this would give us this new array, right? Wrong. Map doesn't actually modify the array that it's applying this function to. It just creates a new array, but still keeps the contents of the first array the same. So if we wanted to assign, so this actually returns a new array. So what we could do is we could create a new variable and call it new numbers and assign it to that value. So now if we console log new numbers, save that, and then let's rerun this. Now you see it returned what we were expecting. So the first value is numbers, and then the second value is new numbers. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind, is that map doesn't actually modify the array that you applied it to. It creates a new array, and then it leaves it up to you to either reassign the numbers array to that new array, or you could assign it to a new value. So if we actually did want to modify numbers, what we could do is, instead of creating this new variable, we could just reassign it. And then now if we save this again and then run that, we'll get that modified value. So that's pretty much how you use map. It comes in handy once you start working with large sets of data, and let's say you want to either shorten it or modify it in such a way. So here's another example. So in this case we have, let me close this. In this case we have an array of users, and each user has a lot of information associated with it. So we have the name, age, hobbies, hair color, height, weight, yada yada yada. But let's say for instance we wanted to have a smaller array which just has like a few key sets of information. So we just want a new array which has a smaller object that has the name, let's say age, and hobbies. So we could use map to do this, which is really cool. So let's create a new variable. Let's call it new users to keep things consistent. And then we'll say users.map. And then remember we pass in the callback function. And just to show that it doesn't really matter what you name it, the variable, we could call it item. And then do the arrow, the brackets, don't forget the semicolon. And then remember we have to return something, right? So what are we trying to return? We're trying to loop through each one of these. So the first item would be that, and the second item would be that. And what we wanted to do is for each one, we wanted to actually create a new smaller object which just has the information that we want. So we could actually just return a new object. So just open up a bracket like that. So this is actually returning an object. So this is an object. So we want to create a new object which just has name. And then let's just not assign this right now. And then we wanted age. And then we wanted hobbies, right? So now let's assign. So this first item is this, right? And the second item is that. So for each time it loops through, it's gonna assign this item. So we have access to all of these variables within that. So we can assign name. So we say we say item.name, which will get assigned to the name in our new object. And then we just do the same thing, item.age. And then lastly, we do, I forgot something, colon. And we say item.hobbies. Forgot again. And then you can save this. And let's console log this new users. Actually, first let's console log users, and then let's just call it users, just so we can differentiate between the two. Console log new users. Let me save that. So now if we open up the console, let's clear it out, save some space, and then let's run this project again. Oh, it's a lot. Okay. So here we printed out users, which was the original array, and then we ran our map, and then we assigned it to new users, and then we printed that out. So if you notice the two, this was the array with the long user data, and then we mapped it down to create a new array with a smaller object with just the information that we wanted. So now we have this array which only has name, age, and hobbies. Now this could come in handy when you start to work with large sets of data and you just want to shorten it down to do some cool stuff with. So guys, that is how you use map. In the next few videos, I'll show you how to use other useful methods. Well, if you like this video, just leave me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions, or if there's some things that were unclear that you want me to actually dive deeper into to explain it better. But yeah, if you like this channel, please subscribe. Expect more content like this to come your way, and I hope to hear from you guys in the comment section below. All right, bye.